Good morning, and welcome to another episode of Mystical Musings podcast. I am Jennifer Taylor.
And I'm Tava Baird. And today we're headed for portals and gates, baby.
Yeah, oh, I'm so excited to get to just to hear the story again and to learn more about this and then share more about how it has shaped our life in this last week and how it has the potential to shift and affect the lives of those who hear and believe it.
Exactly. I remember leaving you a Marco where I talked about what I saw, but I was so dazed at the time. I might need some help remembering the detail.
Yeah, and actually, I can pull up the transcript and see we can maybe use that. I bookmarked it because it was so important that I saw it and I was like, all right, I'm going to bookmark this because we are really going to need to be able to find this again. There we go.
Fantastic.
All right.
And before we go, ooh, can we get a song? I'm so excited to see if Gabriel wants to sing some more.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, what wants
Um,
to come through? So you sing. Last week's music was really great.
yeah, it's so different. It's so different. I'm still learning, I feel like, how to listen to Gabriel and bring Gabriel and it sounds like and or Isis through as well because it feels so different. So yeah, let's see what happens.
Thank you for being willing to make more music.
Oh, always. Oh, it's interesting. It all still feels so new that learning to have Gabriel sing through me is still a learning process. I mean, which makes sense. I mean, I've been working with him for all of what 24 hours now, something like that. And this is the first time on the podcast last week. This is the first time that I opened to have him sing through me. And I think some of that may have even been Isis. So, yeah, this is really different. It's going to be interesting to see how the kind of musical relationship evolves and what you guys take from that and experience because yeah it feels so different. I'm still like it's still getting used to it.
I have a little something from Samael if you would like, based on your singing.
Oh, absolutely. Always.
And I can't believe it. He's actually topical,
Whoa,
as
all
opposed to
right.
taking us off in a completely different direction. I think he's being very, very gentle right now.
Yes,
Um,
I am so grateful. I think he realizes that if we get too expanded right now, we're gonna kind of shut down. And so it's like, all right, I want to keep them listening, so we need to treat them with kid gloves right
yes.
now.
Yes, we are colicky babies this week, and the seraphim is being kind. He says, "What is a doorway, Umshala? A way in which you enter and leave a space. But each space is a chamber for consciousness and retains some of the energy of all entities and objects that move through it. Therefore, every room in your house, every market, every room that holds books, every grove is a domain of energies unique to it. Your mind and soul and body are spaces too. When have you last cleared and cleaned them? What should be protected and what taken out? And how many wards should you place on your doors?" Maybe he did go a little deep. But this goes along with what we were talking about at Fertile Ground Gathering. We wanted to be able to create a space where consciousness could meet in a metaphysical place. And it appears we were successful in that. And now he's saying, think about all those other metaphysical spaces too. The thing that rocked me was the every room that holds books. If every room and every space, including the space within our bodies and the rooms within our minds, retains some of the energy of the entities that walk through it, which means the people we think about, all of these things, some of that energy is there. The thing that really rocked me was thinking about a library. He said, every room that holds books. If every space retains the energies of what has moved through it, can you imagine what the power of a library is like? Each of those books is holding on to the energy of who wrote it and put their ideas in it. When you put thousands of those spaces in together, those creations in together, and then you walk in, good God, no wonder they say libraries are magic. No wonder we feel something very different there. It's making me think about all the areas in my room, about who lived here before, about who lived on my land before. And Samael has talked a lot about that time and space don't work the way they do. As we know, Jen, you time slipper, that there's all kinds of stuff moving through here that is affecting us and affecting our energy all the time, not just the people and not just what's happening at the present, but there's these echoes everywhere. And then if you extrapolate that out to doors, every time you walk through a door or a portal, you're switching from one environment with unique energies into an entirely different one with unique energies, even if you're just going from the living room to the kitchen. And how does that affect us over time when we're immersing ourselves in these things? And what interior spaces and metaphysical spaces that we visit do we also need to contemplate clearing and cleaning and grounding?
Yeah, I feel like there is so much in that. And did he say that we carry the energy from one place into another? Was that part of that
Yes.
also? So when we're in the living room and we maybe have a certain kind of conversation, we have a conversation and it activates a certain energy in us and a certain vibration. And then we walk into the kitchen, we're trailing that energy, we're bringing that now into the kitchen. And somebody else may have just been in there having a very different kind of conversation and a very different kind of energy that's still lingering and still there. And then they go into the dining room, and it's like sort of the exhaust from everything that's happening and all of the energies that are moving from one place to another and staying or lingering or mixing or being picked up or put down. And all I could think, I think I started to do some sort of time slipping when you were talking, because I felt myself sort of dissociate or shift into a different brainwave state and then come back in. And all I could think was Azrael.
Oh my God, Jen, look what I
Because
just wrote.
I can't see Azrael.
At the bottom, Azrael, Azrael,
Yeah.
Azrael. This is his domain.
Yeah, and I was thinking that's exactly what Samael, what you were telling me, he was saying about him, where it's like he is that thing that's left behind, like the scent, when somebody has perfume on and then they go in another room, it's that scent that's left behind, like the smoke trail, like the memory, the lingering after someone has moved and left. And I thought, that's exactly what he's helping us to understand this concept in another way of the energies moving. And it also makes me think we were just at the Fertile Ground Gathering and taking that class together on energetic hygiene. And I know we have a whole episode on energetic hygiene, but one of the things I liked, one of the ways that the teacher Liz had put it, or no, Lisa had put
Lisa,
it, like thinking about puberty and the time period when everybody's bodies was starting to smell, and there were always the people that were kind of late to figure out the deodorant thing and the need for certain hygiene, and they would be in the classroom or whatever, and then they would leave and you would still smell. It's like the essence of all that, like you would still smell them even after they had left. Or I think of it as like somebody who has real strong perfume, they like leave a scent trail through your house, and that energetically we're doing the same things. And what Samael was just saying made me think about our energetic hygiene and the cleaning up of our energy, being aware of what we're trailing from one place to another, what we're carrying and picking up from the various places, and how much there is of that. And I know you were talking about from the end that there was an object there, like a hairbrush that had been brought in, that still not only had the kind of essence of the person who had it, but that there was an actual part, a soul fragment that was attached to that came in with it. So when you think about the number of things that come in and out of our homes, of our environments, of our rooms, and then in and out of the different parts, like Samael was saying, the different parts of our bodies, our mind, our spirit, our physical body, that's a lot of stuff to clear or to tend consciously.
yes. He said, it blew my mind that you brought up Azrael, because as you were saying that, I was writing, he was talking, Azrael, Azrael, Azrael. This is his domain. The ink spilled on the water, the soot on the hide, the scent of smoke once the fire has extinguished, the steam after the heat transforms the food, memory, reflection, that which comes after and that which comes before. So, folks, Azrael may have shown up at the Fertile Ground Gathering, and I have been doing my best to dodge them because I felt overwhelmed. And apparently now they have figured out I'm sitting in one place on a podcast and that I can't run. So we got a little bit of Azrael there. I'll let you know how it goes.
And I thought this was interesting. I found this on a website earlier today, actually, when I was trying to find something about Gabriel. And I thought this is a nice thing that kind of goes along with that, because we were trying to grapple with that whole concept of the sort of trail, the before and the after, and how all of this works. And we know that he works with, or he or she or they work with death and that process. And on casaalhambra.com, I'll give them credit for having put this up here. It says, Azrael comforts and helps people cross over at the time of physical death. Azrael supports helpers, healers, and counselors to help those in suffering. Helps us with positive thinking in the face of loss. Call upon Archangel Azrael for support, comfort, and positive thinking when dealing with loss. So I don't know about the positive thinking parts, but it seems like that idea of the comfort was something that we I hadn't really heard surrounding Azrael, but that sort of the before and after, when I think about that being the before and the after, the idea of that being infused with comfort feels really nice.
So at the end of our second workshop at Fertile Ground, I very clearly heard Samael say the name Azrael. And okay, to me, Azrael is what's his name?
Gargamel.
Gargamel's cat on the Smurfs. So I'm like, okay, I don't know anything about Azrael. And so once I got to a place with cell service, I Googled Azrael. The first thing came up was Angel of Death. And I was, oh no, like how in the metaphysical Yahtzee game of life have I gotten death and death? Like, come on, people.
And preceded by the Morgan, who also death. Yeah.
I don't get the angel of cookies at any point. I would like the angel of cookies. Samael is laughing. He says, I'll see what I can do. I know darn well I'm not getting the angel of cookies. So I have not looked up anything more about Azrael other than I know I did see an article that was titled Azrael versus Samael. Are they the same? And I did read like the first sentence of that, and it said that Samael was horrible and terrifying, and Azrael was very like comforting and positive and like nurturing. And I'm like, well, I already find Samael comforting and nurturing, so maybe Azrael will be a walk in the park. So like literally what you said there was when I saw it, when you said it in the Marco, that was the first time I had really heard that about him, beyond that there was a dichotomy there. But I didn't really trust that dichotomy because that's not how I know Samael. Jen was talking about the gate at the inn and the hairbrush. So allow me to sum up briefly. Was that like a week ago, Jen? Because it feels like it was 8 years ago.
Yeah, I think it was maybe like 10 days ago or something.
Yes, it was April 22nd. You're right. It was exactly 2 weeks prior to today.
So you guys won't hear it yet, but today is May 6th for us.
Okay. So, yes, it was exactly 2 weeks ago today. I had been collecting information from people who had experiences inside the lovely haunted tavern where I volunteer. And pop on, if you want to look them up online, it's Blue Ball Inn 1747. They're in Clearbrook or Brucetown, Virginia. And I've alluded to this on other episodes. Some very interesting interactions with spirits in the house there. On this particular day, 2 weeks ago, I had heard that the house had been a little bit unsettled lately, and I went in before our regularly scheduled community archaeology dig to sit and listen and see if I could hear anything, trying to figure out how to help the house and settle the energy. And right around that time, the previous weekend, I had started to actually see spirits, not just sort of the evidence of them, but actually see them. And I went, oh snap, like Samael has friends now. And so I was very curious. I went in to spend some time. But in collecting all of this data from other psychics and other people who'd had interactions in the house, myself and some of the other people who volunteer there have come to the conclusion that there may be some sort of gate or portal to another place located in the house. And this was based on a bunch of sort of evidence and some video evidence, and the fact that lately we have, as I'm recording the names of spirits that people are getting, we seem to be getting an uptick in the number of spirits in the house. And I sat down to listen and had some spirits there tell me that yes, indeed, there was a gateway in this house, and that the balance of energies inside the house and outside the gate had fallen out of whack because new objects were being brought in the house, new entities were coming into the house, We've had a lot of paranormal investigation teams, and apparently some things have followed them in. And people who were supposed to be using the gate, the wards and barriers on the gate were weakening because of the imbalance of energy. And things that weren't supposed to be visiting the house were slipping through, sort of like a kid slipping through an emergency door at a supermarket. Like, let me see if I can get in here, even though I'm not supposed to use this.
And I
Right.
think that information actually came in from Samael
Yeah, it
later.
did. He confirmed a lot of this as well. And what ended up happening was some other volunteers who are very dear to me and volunteer with me at the house and I encountered a spirit in the house who was extremely distressed. She had come in on a hairbrush and comb set that had come from an auction house. She didn't know where she was. She was disoriented. She was crying out for her mother. She didn't understand that there were other spirits there she could communicate with. She also had no idea where the gate was. And I ended up making, and we could dive into this at another point, but I ended up making a puppet that she could use as a body. And the other volunteers that I worked in concert and got her across the hall to where the gate was. We believed, based on some other things that had happened, that there may have been a spirit that was popping in and out of the house looking for her, that loved her. And so we wanted to get her closer to the gate and calm down, hoping that perhaps her energy might help another spirit come and comfort her. And also, if there being a gate there, maybe she wants to cross over. That wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. But we made it really clear that she didn't have to go anywhere or do anything she didn't want to do. But she did say that she wanted to go over and look at the gate. So we put her in the doll, and the doll was moving. And we took her across, and our spirit box was repeating back to me the exact names that I was saying. Like I said, listen to this soothing music from my friend Jennifer. And the spirit box went, Jennifer. And I went, okay, that's incredibly accurate. And then a few minutes later, I said, do you want to be with the brush by the gate, or do you want to sit with the person holding you? And the spirit box is the name of the woman holding the doll. And I went, okay, we're 2 for 2 on names in a 5-minute period. It was just an incredible experience. But that night, when I got home, I went to bed, and at about 12:15, Samael woke me up, and he said that Teresa, the spirit, had stepped out of the doll, out of the puppet, and was sitting on the bed looking at the gate. And that another soul, who we referred to as Tom, was on his way to speak with her. And from other situations, we believe that Tom may have been in love with her when they were alive. And then the next morning, I woke up and I was like, Samael, what's going on? Did she cross over? And he wouldn't really tell me. He told me I need to go back to the inn and look at the doll. So when I come back from vacation, I'm going to be headed out that way shortly, in about another week. So as a result of all of that incident, I ended up calling the other volunteers who work in the house and talking to them and saying, the spirits in the house say they need some help balancing the energies in the house and warding that gate. And so I had played Jen singing on repeat all through that house for several hours. And then another lovely volunteer there had brought a ton of charged crystals that the spirits in the house could get energy off of and feed off of. And he had a lovely, very helpful paranormal investigation team help him scatter about 80 crystals, charged crystals, through the house. And he put warding ones on the gate to try to help shore up that gateway, which was not acting the way it should. So we'd both been doing things to try to balance the energy inside and outside this gate we couldn't see, and try to bring some more balance and evenness to the energies in the house. So that night I go to sleep.
So I have the idea. I found
Oh, you have it?
exactly where you talk about it.
Oh.
I could try playing it through the microphone, and they could potentially
Cool.
hear the first telling of it.
Great.
So,
We're going to try
yeah.
to do this. We haven't done it before. We're going to try to play it from the Marco.
Well, see, there may be too much background car noise. So we gave it a try, and it does have a lot of background noise. But after trying to just read the script or retell the story, And then going back and listening to the original Marco, it was really clear to me that the power and the excitement and the energy of the message that she was bringing through, of the story that she was telling of her experience, was so much more powerful in its original telling that I made an executive decision to go ahead and stick in the original Marco. And I really think that it is more than worth listening to it through some background car noise, because what she experienced and what she's sharing is so powerful that I think you'll be probably so captivated that you won't really care. And then we'll go back to the regular kind of podcast and us talking about it. Now, the first few lines of it, I am going to read because there was just too much car noise. And I'll let you know that once you get past the first little bit, it does get better. But I just wanted to let you know why we've decided to put that in there, because it's so amazing. So enjoy. So it says, I wake up to hear Samael saying Metatron, 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 8, 8, 8. Metatron, 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 8, 8, 8. And he's chanting and he's talking about eights and Metatron over and over again.
And as I'm waking up, I can hear him doing this. And so I wake up, and in front of me, and I don't know if my eyes were closed, like I think I may have still been partially in a dream state, but I felt like I was awake. There is in front of me all of like these zigzagging lights, like they're illuminating something, like they're drawing something. And it reveals itself to be this very intricate, very large circle that has concentric circles inside it. And on each of these, in each of these concentric circles, in the spaces between them, there are these lights drawing these repeated designs, like very sacred geometry, but like more complex than anything I have ever seen. And as each of these lights hits a point and turns, there are numbers appearing near them that are all like 0.006439, and they keep changing. They're all smaller than the number 1, and they're like moving almost like they're being calibrated. They keep changing and changing and changing, and then they'll pause, and then the light will move, and like new ones will come on and pause, sort of like something is being set. And then the whole thing lights up, and all of those decimal points stop, and the whole thing is eliminated, and then the circles start to rotate, and there's a clicking sound, and then the whole thing disappears. And Samael says, this is what a portal looks like when it is being unbroken. And I'm like, wait. Are you talking about the portal at the inn? Because we just fed all this energy to the house, right? And that's the only portal I know of. And he says, yes. And he starts talking about, and I am going to try to get the snippets out, because Jen, he also talked about you. He said that the portal at the inn works based on a balance of energies on both sides, and that and like it does what it's supposed to do, and the right spirits who are supposed to have, or the right entities, because not all of them are disembodied, that are supposed to have access and be able to use it, the energies got way out of balance, where the outside of the portal, the part section not inside the house, became much stronger than it should have been. And the inside of the house was much weaker. And that now that the inside of the house has more energy, and I'm like, oh my God, Robbie's crystals, the balance is being restored. And in doing that, that portal is only supposed to be able to be used by certain entities. And Instead, it was basically either letting everybody in, or at times, like, it still had some resistance, but it was very much weakened. And now enough power has appeared on the other side that it has kind of reset itself. And I said reset itself. So like entities that are supposed to be able to go through it, it now will recognize them and allow just them through. And he said yes. And I said, are you allowed through? And he started laughing. He was like, I am allowed nearly everywhere. And I said, okay, so that entity that the house was trying to keep out, this will help strengthen it. And he said yes. And I said, but like if a soul, you know, like, and he said there are certain types of souls, there are certain souls with certain vibrations and intentions that are allowed to pass through. And that when the energy got out of whack, it wasn't working the way it was supposed to. It basically, lots was being allowed through. And I said, okay, what were all those numbers? And he said, the blessings of Metatron. And I said, so if you recognize what the numbers are and you're allowed through, you have the blessings of Metatron. And he said, of course. And he said, I can travel through it in either physical or conscious form. And Jen, and Keith, this is where it got interesting to me. He said, there are embodied creatures whose souls can still travel these pathways in their consciousness. They can't do it in their bodies, but who can go through some of these gates in their consciousness and visit other places. And he said, the singer does this. This is what she calls skipping times. And I'm like, wait. So you're saying that when Jen is not embodied and she's in her remembering form, she has permission to use certain of these? And he said yes. But when she is embodied, a part of her consciousness can still journey there, can still cross the gates. It's not as strong as when she's unembodied, but she can still do it. And he said, this is when she eats. This is when she builds things with her hands. This is when she works with the spirits and souls like that are fragmented, that are embodied on the earth. And I'm like, okay, so you're telling me, and I'm sure I'm simplifying what he was saying, that when Jen sings and she goes into these sort of alternate states, that it is a part of her soul that is slipping through these gates, and the gates, certain gates let her through because she's allowed to be there. And that's where she sort of draws her power from, is the ability to move through these gates. And it looks kind of fantastic to the rest of us, but because we don't remember, and he said, many disembodied souls can do this. They have gates that assimilate to their vibration and allow them to travel and work. And I'm like, okay, so ghosts are going in and out through gates that are tuned, that recognize their vibration and are letting them do the work they're doing. Jen, when she sings, is pulling on a part of her, she's remembering her ability to do this, and it's what's giving her ability to heal the embodied on earth while she's embodied. And he said yes. And I was like, okay, how come I can hear you? How come it seems like I'm starting to be able to hear like spirits? And he said, because you thrum to my vibration and they recognize that in you. And I said, so does my consciousness go through these gates too? And he said, not the same way that the singer does. And I was like, oh my God. And then he said, when the singer and the hunter make music together, they both draw power to travel. So Keith, it appears that you have certain gates you can cross into too, and that when you guys make music together, it raises your overall vibration and allows your consciousness to slip into some of these other places. And I said, does this by any chance also happen to Keith when he's running? And Samael said, often, yes. He runs between worlds in his consciousness. So, I don't operate quite the same way you guys do, but because apparently the disembodied are recognizing me as an instrument and ambassador of Samael's vibration, but you guys actually have the ability to send your consciousness through these divine gates and because you guys are more clued into the abilities to travel that you have that everybody else forgets. And Jen, all of these experiences that you have when you sing and when you do healing for people, that's part of and that time slipping feeling, you're literally going through these I guess we call them Metatron gates that are made out of divine vibration and these vibrations have mathematical frequencies. And this is also why the singing and music that you guys do together is so healing, because you are literally doing something to manipulate the frequencies that are allowing the people you heal to have some of their soul work happen through these gates. So, apparently you all are kind of tapped into your unembodied forms and still able to access a form of traveling and vibration manipulation that you guys can do between lifetimes. And with me, people are like, oh, there's Samael's lackey. Okay, we'll talk to her. So what I'm doing seems to be not as extensive and awe-inspiring as what you guys are doing. But anyway, I thought it would be I really wanted to tell you that. And I also realized, because when I woke up, I said, Alexa, what time is it? It's 3:05. And Samael's going, 8. And if I remember back on that Metatron episode, there was something about 8 being switched sideways. It is the symbol of eternity. That eternity symbol, Jen, is also showing up in your symbol that you think was perhaps a gate or an opening of something, and you're often getting that eternity symbol when you sing. So this, if I need to go back and look at, listen to our Metatron podcast, but I believe that when you guys make music, you are putting energy that is traveling through essentially Metatron gates between spaces, between realms, and in and outside of time. And Jen, I think you have so much time slippage that you're very aware of that. But I know what the freaking gate looks like. And there's one in the inn, and apparently putting those crystals down generated enough power that the gate is currently righting itself, fixing itself and clicking back into the way it's supposed to work after being out of balance. Yeah. So there's a lot more to talk about this, and Jen, I cannot help feel that this is a podcast episode of its own, a revisiting Metatron and gates, and it's linking Metatron to the time slippage, to the source of your healing and these visions and experiences that you have, and Keith, when you're going into these liminal states, and when you drum, and when you ditch people in the face, all of this, I think that's only going to increase for you. But I got to see a gate, and I'm flippin' freaking out.
So essentially, like to sum up, if I may, the night after these crystals were put in the house, and after I had also raised the energy by playing Jen's channeled music for soul soothing, that balanced apparently the energy on either side of the portal enough that the portal reset itself. And Samael let me watch it while it was happening, which kind of rocked my universe a little bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So then that brings us forward to, so now, of course, I leave this Marco for Jen and Keith, and I'm going, this is what I saw last night. So then we get to the Fertile Ground gathering. It's like, what, about a week and a half later. And for the first time, we are going to be channeling, we're in a cabin. I'm going to be channeling Samael at one end. Jen and Keith are going to be channeling Michael and whoever else wants to come through at the other end. And we were on a property that had hosted gatherings for years and years and years and years, and where also people had been raising energy every night at Beltane fires through song and dance and drumming. I mean, there'd been a drum circle the night before. A lot of the people at this gathering were talking about how they were having trouble sleeping, not just because it was 85 degrees outside, but because the energy was vibrating so high. We were so excited to be there, and we had so many practitioners on this natural land, which is also reverberating with all of this divine vibration. And so then what do? To put the cherry on top of it, we invite some of those practitioners into the room where we are channeling on property that has land being raised, and Jen and Keith are doing music, and I am bringing through Samael. And here's what happened. We get towards the end of the experience, and I'm sitting in a chair. I'm facing Jen and Keith, who are at the other end of this building. And the building isn't very big. We're close enough that we could hear each other. And there are people all around us in various liminal states, right? They're all doing their thing. They're all calling in their guides. They're all doing their work. And I look up, and there is a shadow on the floor. I realize I'm looking at it, and it's upside down from where I'm sitting. These wings fold out on the floor, and there's this very tall humanoid entity between them. And I'm like, I of course look around like, what shadow am I seeing? Where is this coming from? And of course, there's nothing that I can see making this shape. And I follow back to where the shadow's feet should be. And it's directly between Jen and Keith. And then I see a shadow of an arm move, and it's raising a sword out to the side. And I went, oh my God, like I am seeing physical evidence of Michael, and he's standing in between Jen and Keith. And that was the point when I started, they were playing music, and I'm trying to do like one of those stage whispers, Jen.
From the exact opposite side of the room.
I don't want to ruin anybody's experience, because there are people dancing, and there are people in trance states, and then people are crying. There's all sorts of stuff going on. But I am literally seeing the shadow. I am seeing evidence of Michael, and that he is right in between. Like there's a physicality to him that's enough to pull off a shadow between Jen and Keith. And I'm just like, I don't want to ruin anybody's day, but I kind of need to let her know, right? So
it's just, she's like mouthing this from the other side, and what you were saying was Michael is there, and I thought you were saying there's a bear, and I'm like, there's a bear behind us. I mean, we are in a cabin in the middle of the woods, and there are signs everywhere saying like what to do if a bear comes in your cabin. And then I realized you were like, no, Michael is there. So I'm like, okay, Not a bear. It's Michael.
So then watch Jen mid-dance try to get Keith's attention, who's busy drumming, right? To be like, there's an angel standing between us. But so anyways, I see the shadow, right? And I see the sword, and then I hear Samael say very clearly, because he'd kind of stopped talking. I'd been channeling him, and then he had stopped talking, and now it was just music. And all of a sudden I hear him say, Azrael. And I'm like, what? Like the cat from the Smurfs? What? And then it just suddenly felt like the room was full of stuff. So we end the music and the rest of the things, and I am just sitting there like, the people started coming up to me when it was over saying, I saw lights and color around Jen. I saw angels in the room, all of this stuff. And what we came to realize after the fact, as Samael was talking about it, was that apparently that level of power in that room, the healers who attended, what Jen and Keith were doing, Samael being present, so Samael and Michael, and then all these healers calling in their guides on this supercharged piece of property, essentially we opened some sort of gate there.
And didn't he say Michael cut open the gate?
Mm-hmm.
I think he said Michael cut open the gate.
Yep, I think he said cut the bonds on the gate.
Or cut the bonds on the, yes. And then something about let our music open it or something?
I think it's in a text. I'm trying to look through. There's so many texts after this. But Samael essentially was saying that that level of power that was going on not only created a sacred space where the participants for the workshop could be healed, but it essentially cracked open a door, and that additional teachers were coming. The fact that we had the faith to trust Samael and Michael and go in and do this thing that we were told to do showed that we were ready for some more teaching. And so Samael said that someone was on the way to talk to Keith, and that is its own whole story. And maybe we'll let him tell that at some point. But that somebody was also coming through to speak with Jen and Keith and work with Keith too. And we now know that's Gabriel. And that Azrael was on their way. Azrael was difficult to understand in words, and so I was going to have to puzzle out how best to hear them. And yeah, I've been dodging Azrael. Gabriel obviously is already here with his A+ student who's already listening to what he has to say. And there's somebody who is not an angel coming to speak with Keith. So we've been learning a little bit through these processes. Guys, I cannot tell you the number of things that have happened since that gate. Samael has been very talkative, and I texted you a bunch.
You asked, how far do angels see into the divine?
In addition to coming through when Jen sings, Samael is often really easy to hear when I'm in water. Like if I'm in the shower, or if it's raining outside, or if I'm in the pool, a lot of times he's really easy to hear. So I texted Jen and Keith and wrote, guys, Samael was just talking about angels while I was in the shower. That was more than you guys really wanted to know, listeners, and I'm sorry. And so I started typing out what was my conversation with him and his answers. I said, me, please repeat what you said. I asked, how far can angels see into the divine? Samael said, I only speak for myself. Me, that's fine. Samael, think of the children you taught, Umshala, before you could hear me in this incarnation. Me, okay. Samael, you observed, yes? Me, I would watch them, interact, but also observe. Samael, angels are observers, and at times we interact. Me, I loved them all, meaning the children. I would watch and record patterns I saw, hope for insight both into them and into how children learn. Samael, yes. But were you wiser than they? Me, well, I have experiences they don't have, a much wider view of the world. an entire life they wouldn't understand. Samael, yes, continue. Me, I knew how much more of the world worked. I had independence they didn't have. I mean, I could drive and read and buy things. Samael, were you wiser? Me, not in all ways, I guess. They had an innocence and a creativity and a boundless love I had lost. We were both human, but our brains were very different. They thought I had no life except for the one with them. Samael, it is similar with angels, Umshallah. I sit among you at times, observing. I see much farther and understand the world in ways embodied humans cannot comprehend. We are both cut from the cloth of the divine, yet different. And there are experiences you have in your limited scope that make me long to feel the same. I can advise, educate, impart what I can see of the greater whole. You can choose to listen or to not. And while I am knowledgeable of a wider composition of the divine, I do not have all the answers. I, too, learn. I look for the patterns of the divine in your interactions and behavior, and I reflect on them with regard to myself and the nature of greater divinity. Me, who is the most knowledgeable entity you know of at this time? Samael, Metatron. Metatron, 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 keeper of patterns of all we have learned. Praise his holy name. And then I say, you said his, but Metatron has no gender, correct? Samael, of course not. Me, have you ever seen him appear as embodied? Samael, no. Me, but have you seen him? Aspects of him. Samael, how many eyes does an archangel have, Umshallah? Me, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't matter. Samael, you have seen his tracks. Me, wait, what? Samael, you have seen evidence of his presence. Me, when? Samael, the geometry, pattern, numbers less than 0. Me, the gate portal thing? Samael laughs. Samael, do you remember what I said? When he showed me that gate and that portal that one night, I said something about, oh my God, I have to tell everyone. And he said, how many would believe you, or something along those lines. He said, do you remember what I said? Me, oh God, sort of. It was the gate at the inn. Samael, many like it exist. Evidence of his passing and arriving. And he's talking about Metatron. And you asked me a question. Me, I remember being half awake and asking you something about drawing it to show people or something. And you said, Samael, you may, but who will believe you? And I answered him, Jen and Keith will believe me. And then Jen texts, yes, we will. And Samael answers, just so, Umshallah, just so. A new gate was opened by those healers in the place you call yesterday, and it will let their new guides through. And then I said, so you're saying you showed me a gate, and then Jen and Keith believed that the gate existed and recognized its importance. And Samael cuts in, Michael cut the bonds on another gate and let their song open it and entice new angels and entities to listen. And those entities rejoiced and found them worthy. And now there are new teachers. And Samael continues, they believed where I led you. And so now Azrael and the others have approached.
Yeah.
I am disassociating hardcore over here.
Oh my goodness. I was like, hopefully this is going to be better for you because you're just reading it, but it's like, no, you're just
reading it.
You're right back.
Like so intense. Yeah,
right back into there. It.
So we have gates, folks, and they are apparently evidence of Metatron's passing. He is the keeper of patterns and sacred geometry, and it appears that the angels observe us and other things in the realms, the worlds, whatever you want to call them. And the patterns that they pick up, they give to Metatron. And Metatron is sort of like a great library of this sacred geometry. He has this at his core. He holds all of the numbers. He essentially, Metatron is what Pythagoras was looking for. Pythagoras wanted to find the equation that explained all existence, that explained God, that explained everything. And he was trying to find that when he created geometry. Metatron is holding all of those patterns that Pythagoras was looking for. And the angels who are his students are bringing him evidence of more patterns at all the time so that hopefully they can be reconciled. And yeah, that's where we are.
Yeah. And I think I really wanted to have Tava share this experience about the gate, because it was really interesting to me, the fact that Samael was saying that because we believed it, that made a difference. And I'm trying to look back over that again to how he had said, but the fact he said they believed where I led you. And so now Azrael and the others have approached. And that is sticking with me so profoundly. The idea that our belief, like our knowing of it, and knowing that what you were sharing was true, and our believing it allowed this to happen. And I don't think that often as humans we really fully understand the power of our belief. And I feel like this was really huge. So when we were talking about what are we going to talk about, of all the things that have been happening, what are we going to focus on? I really wanted to bring focus to this gate, because I thought if our hearing it and believing it has so profoundly shifted things, that our belief in it has now opened or allowed others to open this gate, Michael to open this gate, and our music to open it, then what can this do for all of you who are listening and believe? And I think just even that concept of believing making such a profound difference, I feel like is something for us to think on and believe. And then it was interesting when, so she sent us all these texts and we're like, oh my gosh. And then I go and like instantly have this experience meeting Gabriel that we talked about in the last podcast. And the first thing that Samael said as I was texting about Gabriel was, you said, Samael is just laughing. He is freaking delighted. And then he said, you are worthy. You are worthy. You are worthy. Do not step back. Do not shy away. And I wanted to share that too, because I feel like so often when we're at this precipice and there's this major thing and we feel a being coming to us and we feel someone speaking to us, there's this moment when we can either choose to believe and trust that, yes, that is who is communicating with me and I am worthy of it, or we can step back from it and we can go, that I'm probably making this up. That's probably not Gabriel. That's probably not anything. And he wouldn't be coming to talk to me either. Anyway, it's like there's this moment when we have a choice to make to either step into it, believe in our worth, and trust what we're receiving, or shy away and convince ourselves that we're making it up, convince ourselves of any of the things that we tend to do. And so I really wanted to highlight that, because more and more we're finding that is absolutely foundational to moving forward and having the relationship with your guides that so many people are really hungry for.
Samael has something else to say here. He says, belief does not have to be absolute. Of course, you may carry doubts, but you believed enough to act, to open, to call. And the ancestors heard your cries and have answered. In this incarnation, none of you will ever be the same. You found your worth, and they come. I was thinking about this morning, about when I wrote the first book of Samael. The entire book, the entire introduction is just basically an essay of crippling self-doubt. It's me second guessing everything and saying I'm not worthy. And I started thinking about this, and I started thinking about this morning, because even after we had this experience, I found myself there's speech patterns and things that I say. Well, oh, so and so doesn't have the time for me, or oh, I'm not important enough for blah blah blah. They're just what I do. And I started thinking about, what does the world need right now spiritually? Does it need another person added to the millions out there who think they're not worthy and live in that, in order to be like everybody else, in order to be relatable, in order to be acceptable to society? Am I supposed to be polite and self-deprecating because that's what certain people expect a woman to be? Or does it need someone who says, yes, I roar. Yes, I am worthy. Yes, I am powerful. I am divine, in order to lead people to that, so that when they act and they believe, they are opening portals and gateways everywhere to let in the divine and live truly in their purpose. Which does the world need more? And I thought, you know what? I really have to get to a place where I stop this self-deprecating, excuse my French, bullshit. Because there's plenty of that out there already, and that isn't going to help anybody around me heal. I need to embody this concept of yes. What Jen and Keith and I did was scary and nerve-wracking, and Lordy, were we worried about $15,000 worth of instruments getting wet, you know? But we said yes, and we showed up, and we stood in front of people we respected and admired and thought, if this goes wrong, what will they think of us? And then we did it anyway, and it surpassed our expectations. It healed, it gave not only a space for them to heal and try to reach towards the divine, but it healed us. And now we have new teachers.
Absolutely. And, exactly what you were saying with the, what does the world need? The not standing in our power and not acknowledging our worth doesn't help other people to feel truly more worthy and more powerful. And when I think about the presence of being in the presence of Lilith and what that stirs inside you, it stirs this, for me, when I feel her presence really strongly with me, I'm brought to tears by her strong sense of, I know who I am and I know my value, and I will stand up for that and I will be that. And by her radiating that so strongly, I feel it awakens that feeling in me, and I feel that, and I feel that much more strongly. And so I think if we can know and know and know our worth, then we can be that same thing for others. To be in the presence of us, if I imagine us being just fully accepting and knowing and embodying our worth, that can catalyze that same process in others, where they can feel, gosh, if she can feel that way, I can too. It's like it wakes up that in other people. And yeah, that's what we need more of. We need more people knowing their divinity, knowing their worth, and walking around through life, helping to stir that and wake that in others. I was looking at the end of the text, Samael was saying, let it be your mantra, all three. I am worthy. I am worthy. I am worthy. It's like,
We
yep.
can all use that. I am worthy. I am worthy. I am worthy.
Well, I think we have come to the end of another podcast.
Yes.
And I am so grateful for everyone hanging in here with us and being willing to consider believing the things that have been shared, both
Yes.
your worth and in these sorts of gates and portals and all of the types of things that are possible that seemed to me previously to be the realm of sci-fi. And more and more, I was talking to a Reiki student the other day, and it was like, yeah, more and more, it's like every day there's something that goes, oh my gosh, and now that's real too. And now this
Yeah.
is real too. And now this is real too. And it really makes life so magical, and to really experience it as this is a real thing. It's just
And
amazing.
and I want to thank you, Jen, because when I said I'm going to write this portal thing down and show other people, and Samael posed the question, who would believe you? And I knew immediately, I was like Jen and Keith would. If you all didn't have belief in me, if I had come to you and said, I hear an angel, and you had said, yeah, 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 kid, great, we wouldn't be doing what we do now. We wouldn't be growing like we are now. But you all believe, and that allowed us to gather people together and create something beyond my wildest dreams, to be able to find a place where I said, at last, I am doing my life's work here.
And I am so honored to be entrusted with that. I'm so honored that you, I mean, that had to be a terrifying sort of thing to share with somebody. And I'm forever grateful and honored that you trusted me with it, and that I've gotten to benefit from the incredible amount of wisdom and knowledge and healing that has come from that connection.
Would you mind singing us out one more time?
So, thank you all again, and I will end this podcast as we always do. I will invite Gabriel and Isis and Michael to figure out who would like to sing through me to bring this episode to a close and send you out into the world feeling worthy.
Have a closing. We'll have a response to your song from Samael. Beautiful song, by the way.
Thank you.
We are in concert, then. The ghosts, the monsters, the ancestors, the angels, the soul that lives at the center of you. Stories of us rise and fall. Names are placed, which grow honored or reviled. The earth spins, the moon wanes. The light fades to dark, and the dark fades to light. Back again, back again. It is all one, Umshala, all one journey. We walk it together, though our paths weave and twine. You are worthy to sit at the table, human. Take your place.
Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for sharing. And thank you all for listening. This has been Mystical Musings, and we'll see you all soon. Walk in power and divinity.